Hey, what's up?
Hey, Kevin.
Everybody, we're just going live now. I'm here today with Chris Dreyer. So actually, Chris is in a group that I'm in, a mastermind that is for digital agency owners. So that's how I know Chris. We have spent some time together, talking business and sharing ideas. And so wanted to bring Chris on. Chris owns a company called rankings.io. He's an expert in SEO. And Chris, I'll let you kind of throw a little bit more in there about yourself and give us the bio.
Yeah, Kevin, thank you so much. So basically, I've been doing SEO for about 14 years. I own rankings.io, where we serve elite personal injury law firms. That's who we primarily work with. And we only do SEO and we only work with personal injury law firms. I also own ESQ.marketing, which is an agency that works with solo practitioners, small businesses, and covers the other practice areas of legal, like bankruptcy, family law, criminal defense, everything of that nature. But SEO is all we do, and that's what I'm really passionate about.
Well, it sounds like I got the right guest. So, I want to have some questions about maybe a little bit about business, but also mainly about SEO. And I've also been in SEO for quite a long time, at least 10 or 15 years. One way or another, as far as my personal knowledge, it's been less over the last couple of years, not being in the business service itself, but it's just one of those things I love. I always like to watch it. I like to know where we are, where our clients are, and I'm passionate about, bringing on a new client and selling them our service because I know we can help them. I love the fact that, rankings, you guys niche, like super niche, like It's not just SEO, but it's for personal injury. And that's difficult, I think, for people to kind of come to that conclusion that, hey, we need to be specialized and the benefits of that. So I guess give me a quick rundown. Did you just start out that way, or was it a progressive thing, or did you have a business before that you kind of said, hey, this is what we need to do and this is where we're best?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the short story of our trajectory is we started off, we launched as attorneyrankings.org. And we were I'm doing air quotes, a full service digital agency, but we did primarily PPC, SEO, and design. And after 2 or 3 years, I think it was the third year, we looked at the P&L, looked at our numbers, looked at the data, and we found our profit margins were just a lot better for SEO. And to be honest, that's where our passions lied. Not that we couldn't turn design or PPC into a more profitable situation, but we just decided to go all in for SEO. The other thing is about design, that was like the last one that we let go of because we always looked at it as a loss leader, thinking someone needs a website and then they want to market that website. But for us, we were getting our leads for SEO and they were existing clients who wanted a site. So it didn't end up being that loss leader. It was actually just not profitable for us because we weren't charging enough. There's things that I've learned along the way as a business owner. But then at the end of 2018, I listened to a podcast. It was Jason Swink's podcast where he interviewed Seth Godin. He talked about finding that smallest addressable market where you can really make an impact in order to become remarkable. And I looked at the data and found that 70% of our revenue was generated from less than 40% of our clientele, and that was personal injury law firms. And we were being really successful in that area. So I just decided to pursue it full time and go all in 2019, and we've been doing it ever since.
That's awesome. I mean, I would say we've had a similar kind of progression with our business, and we used to do software and mobile apps, and there was a point in time where we looked at the revenue, we looked at the retention, reoccurring revenue, for instance, and decided to make that shift and drop those services. And digital marketing was really what we moved to. And then recently, now we've moved into specifically medical and law being our primary focus, because again, we looked at the revenue, the books, and that those made the most sense for us. And so we've made some shifts here recently into that. So very cool. I had a couple questions from my team, which we can start out with.
Sure.
And then we'll be getting some questions from the audience. Make sure everyone watching, post a question if you have it in the comments. We will ask Chris. And if I can help answer it, I will. But Chris is on the chopping block here.
All right.
So if you got a question, ask about it. SEO, come up with the hardest questions you can. Chris has all the answers. So one question I had was a really big question for me when I'm out talking to prospects. And it comes down to, the local pack, the 3-pack in the map listing. And then you have your organic listings below, and how those differ, and what's your all's focus? Do you prefer one or the other, or are you doing both? Obviously, if you're a localized client, then the map pack's very important. So I guess, how are you guys seeing that, and what efforts being put into rank in both of those areas?
Yeah, that's a great question. Since we work with brick and mortars, typically the map pack, the local maps, is the best virtual real estate, particularly for those bottom of the funnel searches, those searches like car accident lawyer, truck accident lawyer, that have a lot of high intent for a consumer. A consumer that types in that query is more likely to be making a buying or hiring decision. So those are obviously very, very important. However, they don't trigger off of every query, particularly when we're focused on the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, those like long-term searches where they're still in the discovery phase. So I think that as an SEO strategy, even if it's a brick and mortar, you should be conscious of creating content around, the entire funnel, the top, middle, bottom. And basically in order to get results in the map pack, there are a lot of crossovers when it comes to maps versus organic. And the biggest one is how you're creating prominence for a law firm, and that comes with links and content. The one additional thing is that we really focus on is reviews. And everyone wants to rank for best personal injury attorney, top personal injury attorney. Well, you can't rank in the map pack if you have a low review count and score. If you went on vacation, say you're going to St. Louis, and you typed in best restaurants near me, you wouldn't expect to see 1 and 2 star restaurants. You'd expect to see 4.9 and 5. So your reputation, your client experience for as a firm owner is very important when it comes to reviews. And we can get really granular, but there's a lot of crossover. I think they're both really important.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different signals and factors. Reviews are definitely a big piece of it, and I've done some tests actually where if you put the word best or top, it actually filters out anything below a 4-star. So if you don't have a good rating, aggregate rating, then you're not going to show up if someone does best or top or whatever. So Google actually will filter them out for you. So yeah, it's super important, and it's underneath the ads. It's the next best place to be. And honestly, if someone's in discovery, reviews are important for them these days. They're going to look at those. So reputation's a big piece of it as well. Ideally, you want to be in all three. That's what I look at. You want to be in the ads, you want to be in the local pack, and you want to be first organic. So, and not just first organic, but every spot underneath the first spot. So, ranking articles and other pages. So, all right, excellent. Question here. We got Eric J. Olson. You might know him. He's actually my business partner, and he's in the mastermind with Chris and I. He says, "What's up, Chris? How often does Google tweak their algorithm? And thoughts on the most recent tweaks?"
Eric, that's a great question. Being an SEO nerd, I'm not even sure how often they update their algorithm. I know it's hundreds, if not thousands of times a year. The biggest thing that I try to focus on is what are the tactics that we're doing that provide long-term value. I think in the past, in my affiliate marketing days, I might have took some of those shortcuts where I was gaming the system, whether it was an exact match domain or maybe the black hat type links. But now we're focusing on quality. So we pay attention to the new algorithm updates. Obviously, it's critical, but we're not as afraid of them as we were in the past because we're really trying to do things for long term, for evergreen.
Yeah, that's a good response. I know to remain nameless. Well, yeah, there I am. Sorry, I'm here. And yeah, so well, in my experience, if you're doing the right things and you're putting out good content, Google's never really penalized you for that. And there's different tactics and tweaks and stuff like that you have to adjust for. But I know of a firm, to remain nameless, that was a fairly high ranking SEO firm that just almost went out of business overnight with an algorithm change because they did mostly black hat type stuff. And they just lost everything pretty much overnight. They were like a $10 million firm. Yeah. So they're just gone. Like, not gone. They're actually still in business, but down to a few folks. So yeah, you got to put in the effort, good content, follow the rules, and you're going to be safe. And then it's about being competitive and trying to figure out those little tactics and tweaks they're going to help you. But if you've done things the right way, Google's not going to mess with you. Another good question here. This is a question came from our SEO guy, James, back at the shop, and always a good question. And we'll post some of this stuff if we can in the comments. But name a few of your top tools that you use. We use tools like say Raven's tools or stuff like that. So what do you guys use? What do you recommend?
Gosh, we use a ton of tools.
I assumed you did.
Let's talk about something that's not talked about a lot for SEO. So I think it's critical to processize things that are repeatable, and so that you have something to look at to where you can continuously improve that process or that tactic. So we're huge proponents of Trello from a workflow standpoint. Just like an airplane pilot, before they're doing their going to fly the plane, they do their run up. They run through the checklist, and we're looking at what items we can add to any particular tactic to make it better. So when we do those retrospectives, we do those postmortems, when we lose a client, whatever tactic it is, we're continuously improving. So I think that's a little bit different. I think it's the top SEO agencies are very processized in things that are repeatable for consistency and quality. In terms of just SEO tools, I'm a huge fan of Ahrefs. It's my favorite tool. I wish I could use it for everything. We use it for keyword research. We use it for link analysis, competitor analysis. We use it for audits. I wish they made some adjustments to their rank tracking to focus on local and those maps, and we would probably use it for that. But Ahrefs we use a ton. We use SEMrush for content optimizations and going a little deeper in terms of keyword research. We use Surfer SEO. We use Screaming Frog to crawl a whole site and really get extremely granular in terms of metadata or the components, the architecture of a site. One of my favorite things about Screaming Frog is they now have this map that will visualize the architecture of a site. It's incredibly useful in terms of seeing what pages are accessible. Rank tracking, we use Agency Analytics. I like it because it segments organic, local, and maps. And
what was the name of that one again?
Agency Analytics.
Okay.
Yep. And then we use a lot of APIs, a lot of the API from Ahrefs, from SEMrush, and we feed it in the Google Data Studio to make stuff that's really presentable for our clients. And
yeah, we use Data Studio as well for reports and things like that. We'll build custom dashboards for clients. We do use Ahrefs, I believe, too. That's a Neil Patel spinoff or company originally, wasn't it?
I don't think so. That's Tim Solo is the head of marketing over there. I can't remember the founder's name, but
maybe he's just pushed it before or recommended it in his podcast. I want to say I just assumed
Neil owns Uber Suggest, I believe. I think there's
Uber, yeah, you're right. Yeah, and that and Crazy Egg.
Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We've actually used that in the past. So, all right, a lot of tools there. We'll try to post some of them in the comments for people to come back to if you're watching this later. Some of the tools that Chris is using, and if Chris is using them, they're going to be good tools. They're going to be important. I know we use quite a bit of tools. We've used Raven tools, SEMrush. We call it SEMrush.
Yeah.
Ahrefs, I think we use that as well. So, and then Data Studio for reports and Google Analytics, of course. Also, I saw that Google has changed their structured data tool, or that they're killing their structured data tool, and now they have a new tool. I forgot what it's called actually. That I guess checks for schema markup and stuff like that. But I just noticed that today. I was looking at talking to a prospect this afternoon and kind of running some reports for him and saw that there's like, hey, this isn't going to be here anymore. Here's a new one. So
yeah, I actually didn't know that. I just used the structured data testing tool like 2 days ago myself. So
I just saw it today. So there's a new tip for you right there.
Yeah.
I'll have to find that. I can't remember what it was called, but I literally just used it a bit ago, and it's kind of different. It kind of gives you like this page is it's not quite as technical, but it's more like a big check mark if the page is qualified to show up for a feature snippet.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a little more straightforward, but so I guess give me some ideas. So this is the business side. I know you're growing your business. You had mentioned early on, and I just wanted to know this for myself, really, that you just made an acquisition. Give us a little bit of idea, what you're up to and where that's going.
Yeah, so it's interesting. When we made the decision to move to personal injury law firms, we strategically found the non-personal injury attorneys a new home where someone could help those individuals. And that was a process in 2019. So instead of stacking revenue, when we signed new clients, we actually strategically churned out revenue too. So it was an interesting year, even though we had a pretty nice growth year and we made 5,000 again. We could have stacked more revenue, but we were really focused on quality. And the other thing that I identified was I still wanted to be able to help the solos and the small businesses, and I was having difficulty finding them a home for referral situations. So I ended up launching ESQ.marketing, and that started off not the best time to launch an agency in March of this year, but it's going really well. We hit profitability last month, so for a new agency, that's really exciting. In terms of what we're doing right now to grow our agency, so we've got the Rankings podcast. We are doing a ton of video and LinkedIn video, and that's actually going really well. And just nurturing relationships and doing things like this, and congregating with smart individuals like yourself, and that's what we're doing. We're just continuously improving and trying to get our name out there.
Excellent. Well, so that's pretty cool. I mean, thanks for the update on that. And so you're revenue positive for that, you said?
Yeah. We hit, I think we're at 25,000 MRR and short amount of time. Yeah.
Walking change.
Definitely different model. So Rankings is you've got your three models. You've got input, output, and you got value. We're more of a value-based agency where you pay for the thing, and we don't itemize our deliverables or hours for capacity as much. It's, hey, you're paying us to get us that result, and we'll do everything possible we can. Whereas this agency, it's more focused on output. So you're paying for the thing, the article or the link to help you achieve that goal. And it makes it a more friendly budget-wise option for that agency.
All right. Well, we have some other questions coming in, and I want to get to those real quick too. First off, before I forget, just wanted to push something that we're doing. So this is for Array Digital. We have a Healthcare Heroes nonprofit giveaway. So we're actually giving away a free website and a digital marketing strategy. So we're looking for healthcare related nonprofits to submit. It's on our website. We're actually going to post a link in the comments here in a minute. I believe the deadline is October 31st. But yeah, Chris, we're giving away a website and a strategy for a nonprofit that's in the healthcare industry. Of course, they're at the front lines right now, and we want to make sure we can help them out. So we'll be posting that everywhere. If you guys can check that out, and if you have a nonprofit that you just care about, if we can get the contact information, we can ask them to submit or have them submit, and that'll be posted here in a second. Some other questions. Let me get to you, Chris. This is David's asked, hey guys, my brother is a therapist and is having trouble getting reviews due to the nature of his work. Curious if you have any ideas, although I realize this is a tough one. Would also love to hear of some of the tactics to get clients to leave reviews. So Chris, I'll let you take the first stab if you want.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one because even for in the legal space, it's a similar situation for like bankruptcy attorneys and criminal defense attorneys. I would say that you can always ask, and that's you have to be intentional. There has to be intentional action towards the goal that you want to accomplish. So having a process to where every single time you obtain a new client, you make sure the client experience from start to finish is amazing so that they can become an evangelist at the end of their experience. I think that you may be surprised where some individuals may be okay with leaving reviews and sharing their name. I'm sure there's sites that you can leave reviews anonymously.
Sure.
Your first name, last initial, or first initial, last name. But that's the biggest thing. There's some tools. I'm sure Kevin's got some tools to Bird Eye. There is Bird Eye, Gather Up, Podium.
Podium's a big one.
All those tools can help.
Yeah. So we work with a lot of medical clients in all different fields, and it's therapists. Yeah, that's definitely more difficult than say OBGYN or plastic surgery or something like that. So. But yeah, to Chris's point, it should be in your process. I know it's in my process for my company. We don't automate ours because we have a really connected relationship with each client we have. So for us, it's getting on the phone and saying, hey, are you happy with us? We hope you are. Will you give us a review? And then we take it to the next step to say, will you do a video testimonial? And we can put that on our website as well. But yeah, with Google, that's where you want the reviews. It's honestly, for us, it's the only place we care about, but it's going to leave the person's full name. So obviously they have to be comfortable with that. If you don't ask, you're not going to get them. So I would definitely have a plan for that. You can use automated software to make sure everyone gets a text message and an email and make it easy. And you may get, more response because it's automated for you. But it's going to be more difficult for sure in that space. But I think, if it's not in your process and you're not asking everyone, then you're not going to get anything. So, yeah, pretty straightforward. And there's definitely some medical sites that do it. But when we're talking about SEO and Google, Google's the place to be for sure. I got some other questions coming here in my Slack, trying to check with the team. All right, let's see. Sorry.
No problem.
Questions coming in. I'm trying to check like 5 different places. So I see some people are asking to post links to the tools. It looks like my team has kind of jumped on that and posting some links up there to a few of the tools that you had mentioned. Say we're good there. So I guess, getting towards the end here, is there anything that you think you could share with us with SEO? Like anything new, any big changes? Is there anything different that you guys have been doing since the last Google algorithm change that came out? Or do you see anything, coming down the pike? Is there anything different that you see that's going to affect SEO results?
Yeah, I'll give you a few that we've been doing that are a little different. Is first, when you're creating content, the age-old statement that everyone says is to look at the top ranking sites and to model your content and do better. But we really take an entirely different approach. You say, look at the top results and then create something that's completely different, because by nature of being different, you're going to stand out. And it's Google's job to filter out similar content, duplicate content that's not providing value. So if on its own, if you just create something that's unique and completely different, I mean, a different content framework. So if everything's structured the same way with one author, maybe you do a roundup where there's multiple contributors. Maybe you do a survey. Maybe it's a list post or an ultimate guide. By nature of being different, you have the opportunity to stand out. That's a big one for content. Another one's refreshing your content. So many of us will create a page on their best keyword and then we just leave it alone. That's the worst thing in the world, because you identified this as a very profitable keyword. You just need to continually update it, and don't just do it one time and leave it alone. Find a process to where you can come back and revisit it. Another tactic is, I'll do two more, is to add more statistics. And the newer the statistics, the more custom statistics, the better in your sales pages. A lot of times other websites won't want to source or cite a sales page because it's soliciting, a sale. But if you have statistics, they may cite a statistic. So it's a way to get links to your sales pages. And then the last thing I would say, and this is totally different, but we've been doing this recently, is consider SEO more like real estate. There's a lot of options when you're considering getting into real estate as an entrepreneur. You may buy a home and rent it for long term. You may buy it, fix it up, and flip it. Or you may buy an apartment complex or multifamily. There's all these different options. When it comes to SEO, everyone just immediately thinks, I need to create my own content and try to rank this article.
Well, I know what you're leading to, possibly.
Yeah.
So I know recently that you basically bought content, or I don't know if you bought a domain or not, but just you bought content from a site that was already ranking for what you wanted, right?
Yeah. So a page that ranks for someone else may not have they may not monetize it in the same manner that you could. So in our space, our head term SEO for lawyers is one of the top keywords. It's a very profitable keyword for myself as a business owner. And I found out one individual wasn't taking legal clients anymore, and he was ranking on the first page.
That's
I
crazy.
approached him, bought the article, did a 301. Now I have not only the top result, but now the 5th result. Well, I thought, well, this is a great tactic. Let me see if this can work again. Contacted a different webmaster on the first page, already ranking on the first page, then bought his blog. Then I did it a 3rd time and bought a page. So now instead of having 1 result on the first page, now we have 4 for a head term. And
now, did you just 301 those, or did you leave some live and you're just kind of passing them over?
So out of the 3 acquisitions we did, 2 of the 3 were we just bought the content, put the content on a website property we owned, and did a permanent 301 redirect where Google could identify the new source, but that link equity would go to the new location. So when we're doing evaluation for these, we would look at the inbound link profile. We would look at the actual clicks on Google Search Console. And we look at the content itself. What would it cost to write and generate the quality of content that this page contains? And then that was 2 of the 3. And then the 3rd one we did is we just bought the full website, and we allowed that individual to keep their clients. So we just bought the property. We didn't buy the whole business. And this individual had some grandfather clients he'd been working for many, many years, and he kept the clients, and we just took the website and kind of rebranded it. So
basically you got that whatever inbound, whatever traffic they had, you basically took that over.
Yeah. It's a long-winded way of saying you don't always have to create something new that you're creating and that you own. You could approach other webmasters that already have those ranking positions that you want to obtain. And I think that this is going to become much more prevalent in the future as the amount of competition increases for SEO.
That's a good point. I mean, everyone's fighting for the same thing. And then just like real estate, yeah, you're looking at, hey, this one's right here. They're not doing anything with it. And you see it all the time too. I'll go to some top stuff that we're looking for. And I'm like, oh my, how is this site ranking number 1? And if you look into the company, they look non-existent, and they're probably doing nothing with that traffic.
Right.
And you could probably get stuff for pretty cheap.
Yeah. In this case, for sure.
So, I mean, that could be a tactic for anyone. If you say you're opening up like a new practice of your own, or a dental practice, and you find some local guy has a high ranking site, but they're basically dwindling down, about to go out of business. They're not going to sell their business, but buy the website, buy the content. It's a good strategy.
Yeah, the circumstances could be different for anyone. It could be they're retiring, they're going out of business, they change their industry. It could be a lot of different things that affect that decision.
Yeah, and right now with COVID and the economy, and you got baby boomers and people that are like, I'm ready to get out of business, and there's a lot more opportunities.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I love what you're doing. All right. I guess one more thing, we'll wrap it up. Healthcare Heroes, we'll post a link. Check out Chris, check out his company, and follow up with him. We'll be sharing this around on social media, so look for more from Chris. And then I guess that's it. Chris, you got anything else you want to add? If not, we'll wrap it up and have a good Friday.
No, that sounds good, Kevin. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for sharing all the little nuggets of information.
You got it. All right. Take care.
Yep.